Joe is an ultra runner and has been suffering with glute pain for 7 months. So I want you to come on a journey with me as I record Joe's rehab journey from start to finish, while also teaching you rehab tips so you can overcome any current or future running injury, not just glute pain. But Joe's situation poses an extra level of urgency and will really put my rehab principles through the ultimate test. Because not only does Joe want to get back to running pain-free, but he is just 71 days away from entering the Black Canyon 100K, a grueling race starting in Arizona and finishing in Phoenix. And get this, Joe's goal isn't just to enter and finish, but he wants to take first place. Can he pull off a miracle? Let's find out. Okay, so I just received a message from Joe, who's a good friend of mine, saying, "Hey Brodie, I've been struggling with some glute pain issues for the past 7 months. It's been tough to kick. I'd love to work with you if you're interested." So Joe and I have been friends for a while. He's the host of the Everyday Ultra podcast, and we've done some collaborations in the past, over the past couple of years. Great guy, very charismatic. So I think he'd be a perfect fit for recording his rehab journey. So I'm going to send him a text message now and get his thoughts. Okay, Joe is on board with this plan. We've organised a call in a couple of days' time, and in the meantime I've sent him some forms to fill out and some tests for him to do at home, just so we can really get a better understanding of this injury. To rehab Joe's injury, I'm going to be following a 10-step process, which you can learn as well in detail through this playlist. And step 1 is all about uncovering why this injury happened in the first place. So we're going to uncover that, and let's get started.
All right, so over the past 7 or 8 months or so, I've been dealing with this pain right in the butt over here, literally. I've had this, I don't know if it's piriformis, something to do with my glutes, where it's just this sharp pain that gets irritated every time I run, specifically anywhere over 7 or 8 miles, and then it just kind of stings throughout the rest of the run and then progressively throughout the day as well. I've tried everything to try and fix this. I've tried dry needling, I've tried stretching, I've tried specific strength exercises, I've tried rest, and it is not getting any better. In fact, it seems to be getting worse and worse. So right now we're going to go through some exercises just to assess where my injury's at, where my body's at, and everything like that. Let's dive into this assessment. Ooh.
So I've just reviewed Joe's tests, and it seems like his pain first came on alongside a rise in weekly mileage, as at the time he was preparing for his second 100-mile race, and his aggravating factors currently are running more than 7 miles, with the pain ranging between 3 and 7 out of 10, which is quite high, but he said that it returns to baseline or is fine the next morning. He also is aggravated with sitting after a run, so there's a little clue there. I don't really think it's piriformis syndrome, because Joe's already tried treating this for several months, tried strengthening the glutes and the piriformis, and he hasn't seen any improvement. So that's kind of letting your treatment be a diagnostic tool in a way, or it's sort of leading our suspicions away from piriformis syndrome, because if you treat it as such, it should get better. However, I do have my suspicions on what it could be, but let's dive into our first call and see if we can get to the bottom of it. Can I get you to do a test? We call this a shoe-off test. Essentially, the shoe-off test is taking your affected side and digging your heel into the front of your other foot, like you're going to take your shoe off. Where do you feel the pain and tightness? In that area?
In that same spot in the butt. My suspicion is it's piriformis, but I have no idea.
What I was maybe suspecting was a high proximal hamstring tendinopathy. People do confuse piriformis syndrome with proximal hamstring tendinopathy. They usually do this. They sort of grab under their butt and say, this is where it's sore. I am curious whether we treat it as such. We start for the first week or two treating it like PHT and see if it gets better. This call actually took 45 minutes. So I'm just going to give you a quick recap and what the action plan is. And also just on top of that, if you feel like you have similar symptoms or you feel like you have proximal hamstring tendinopathy, you can check out my second podcast. And if you're following the 10 steps in that playlist, which I recommend you do if you're injured, we're now moving on to step 2, which is just trying to establish exactly what Joe's injury can tolerate. So as a result, we've done 4 main things. Number 1, we've kept the same running mileage, but we've removed all speed work. We've done that until symptoms are under control. Number 2 was going through the running pain rules, because you don't necessarily need to run symptom free. So clearly laid out what the running rules are. And again, that's in step 2 of the 10 step playlist. Third thing that we did was assign some strengthening exercises. And number 4, instructed Joe to document his symptoms throughout the week so that we can follow a trend to see if we're heading in the right direction.
Honestly, like I mean, yeah, I've literally been thinking and treating this as piriformis syndrome. And I was like, what the? This is a good revelation. Like now I finally am like, okay, I'm excited for it. It's going to be awesome. All right. So based on the conversation with Brodie yesterday, looks like the theory is that I have high hamstring tendinopathy, which means no speed work on the docket. Not going to lie, I've been anxious. I've been kind of frustrated that I can't get the speed work in because that's where you make a lot of progress in your fitness. And I know I need to make progress in my fitness for my goals, but yeah, just gonna get after a nice little jog here. All right, just finished the recovery jog, and typical kind of symptoms where, I feel the, dull pain in the butt after, running for a little bit. But it was interesting because now I feel some tightness in my right hamstring. I think before I was just so focused on, my butt, this is piriformis, telling myself a story. I'm actually pretty excited now because I'm like, okay, this is kind of like the root cause. Now we can address it and fix it. In a few hours, we're gonna be doing some strength exercises and we're gonna get after it. All right, so I just finished up a run, and not gonna lie, I'm pretty frustrated because I'm feeling some pain. I know we just started the rehab program and everything like that, but I had such this high about figuring out what the issue was and being like, okay, this is gonna be great. And then now it's just more pesky than ever. Hopefully things will be better after I do the exercises tonight. And yeah, we just gotta trust the process and see what happens. All right, I'm super stoked because today, and as you saw in this morning, I was pretty frustrated because I was getting a lot of pain in that proximal hamstring area. It was pretty bad after the run, and it was pretty bad all day, even when I was sitting, doing work, went out for a dinner with friends, and it was bothering me the entire time. And then after I did the 2 exercises, it actually is really feeling like there's no pain at all. So it's so crazy to see that those exercises really helped for me to feel no pain after going through basically feeling miserable all day. So super stoked because that just gives me so much confidence for the rest of the plan ahead. I can't wait to hit these Nordics even more, hit the hip extensions even more. Let's see what happens, and hopefully no more lows and more highs ahead. Let's do it. All right, week 1 of the rehab plan is down and done, but overall during the week, I think we're making progress. And I did notice that it was flaring up a little bit less this week, which is super, super awesome. There are some days where it feels like it's not getting better, and then there's some days it feels like it's getting insanely better. And so it's all a process so far, but I can definitely feel like I'm making strides because the overall level of pain that I'm feeling on the runs is definitely less, and I'm finding that I'm reverting back to baseline a lot quicker. Usually it would take the full day into the next day to really return back to baseline, but usually hours after the runs and the exercises, I feel like I'm getting back to baseline a lot quicker, which is super, super cool.
If you've followed this 10-step playlist, hopefully some of the things Joe's saying start to resonate with you. Remember, this playlist is to help you overcome your injuries as well. So step 1, we've found the source of his symptoms, hopefully. Step 2, we've sort of found his current level of tolerance that falls within acceptable pain limits. And I've just been tracking through Joe's comments throughout the week. And after tracking those and reading them, it seems like his progress is passing this second step, which means we just need to move on to step 3, which is creating a rehab ladder to gradually progress and challenge his injury. Now, Joe has already scheduled a deload week for week 2, which is fantastic. Gives me a good idea of what I want to do for step 3. So let's wait until next week's call. Have you done deadlifts before?
Yes.
And weighted step ups. So what we can do is these two can be like your gym session and these two can be like a home session. I'm going to make a progression chart here for you as well. And we progress once you can tolerate that previous session. So if you're currently doing 3 sets of 6 and you're like, you know what, that was pretty easy. I tolerated it really well. Symptoms, not much at all. And level of challenge, achievable. Let me try phase 2. This is exactly what you would do.
Okay. That makes sense. All right. I'm pretty frustrated right now because I just went on a 7-mile run earlier in the day and I'm feeling some pain. But the thing is like I'm kind of having to modify the things that I would rather do, such as running on the trails. Like I have to run on a flat road here just because I don't want to flare it up. But at the same time, I'm still getting a little bit of flare up. So it's like, I'm trying to like keep my level head of just saying, be patient, be in the process. Cause I know in the long run it is getting better, but like, I guess I'm just making this to say like, it's not a linear process. Like some days are just going to feel worse than others. And today is one of those days. Trust in the process. That's what it's all about. Well, just like how I said, it's all a process in the last video and that there are ups and downs. Today was a great up. I had a nice 5-mile run, no pain whatsoever, a little bit of pain afterwards, but pretty much subsided super quickly, which was nice. And then once I got to the gym over here to do the deadlifts and the step ups, no pain at all, no symptoms, which was so awesome. I was able to progress the deadlifts up to 30 pounds with 2 dumbbells, which was great. So super excited about that. Feeling a lot better. It's so crazy how, one day you can feel super crappy and then another day you can feel super great. So really pumped about that. Headed into a long run tomorrow, 2 hours and 15 minutes on the road, straight and flat, and super excited to see how that goes. But overall today was a good day and super excited to see that we're making progress on this injury. Let's do it. Whew, just finished a 16-mile long run and the hamstring feels a lot better than it did on last week's long run. Pain only is about a 2 right now, whereas like last week it was like a 4 or a 5. So feeling good, making good progress here, but overall we are making progress on the up and up and I'm feeling great. All right, week 2 is in the books. Once I went to a physiotherapist, AKA Brodie, and he was able to properly diagnose my injury. Then in a matter of 2 weeks with just 2 simple exercises, or actually now 4 exercises at this point, doing it on a routine basis and just modifying my running just a little bit, in 2 weeks, I made massive progress. Without proper testing, you don't get proper action. Like that's just the reality. And if you don't have proper action, you don't get proper results. We're doing good on the exercises, doing good on the runs, still feeling great. Well, I mean, not 100%, but feeling better than we did before. So I'm super pumped about that. So week 2 is in the books. Week 3 is coming up. And I'm excited to see what's next. Let's do it.
Joe raises some really good points. And I promise we didn't stage this at all, but step 5 out of my 10-step process actually answers the question if your injury requires an assessment. While I don't believe every injury requires an assessment, Joe's been trying to treat this for 7 months and he hasn't seen any improvement. So overall, I'm glad he's reached out for assistance. Okay, so far we've established a rehab ladder for his strength exercises, but now that his symptoms are under control, we need to address the elephant in the room, and that is his speed workouts that he needs to prepare for this race. We'll do 1 speed session. We'll see how you respond. Then based on how you respond, we'll then use it as like a justification for what we do thereafter. I'd like to do it on a Thursday. If you can look on the spreadsheet below your strength program, there's a box that says interval sessions. You can see there that there's 5 minutes on,
Mhm.
2-minute jog, 7 RPE. So do that easy run and then do these intervals after that, and then we'll see how things feel. Let's see, once we pile on that layer, how symptoms behave. If we're good from there, like, we're in a really good position.
Sweet. No, sounds good. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Yeah, it's been going great so far. So I'm hoping this speed work finally gets going, because I definitely need to get a little faster, and I know these speed works will help. So appreciate that a ton.
Just chiming in here real quick, because Joe is about to bring up a really important point about recovery. So listen closely, and if you need more detail on the topic, like always, you can head to the 10-step playlist.
The second thing is, and trust me, I'm trying to be more intentional about this, but my sleep has been sucking lately, like packed wall to wall. Like last night, like we didn't even get in from the airport until like 2 a.m. and I had to be up at like 7 a.m. for work today. And then I got tons of like early work meetings this week and stuff. And I get very stressed. Like when Brodie, I swear, like every time like I'm out there and it's like 2 a.m., like I think about that graph that you have in your book, like no joke, literally it's just hanging in my mind. I guess like my question is like, what suggestions, I guess, do you have to like not let that be so detrimental? Like, or how do we work around that?
Listen to your body. If you are running tired, if you're feeling fatigued, if you've got more muscle soreness than usual, don't push through the plan. Don't push through what is on there just because you have to tick it off. We need to modify this schedule that we have based on how you're recovering. So if you are feeling tired, if you are feeling stressed, if you're not feeling like you're recovering as well as what you had been, take a rest day. Don't do an hour 15, do 45 minutes. Track it, track your sleep, track your heart rate variability, track like your subjective like recovery measures. And if you're feeling flat, off, let me know and we can make some adjustments.
All right, just went on a run. First time in a while, no pain out there. That was great. Man, I'm excited. I'm stoked. Got my first speed session later on this week in a while, which I'm stoked about. So feeling great, feeling motivated, and feeling pumped. Let's go. All right, just finished up first speed work back since starting the rehab plan. Can't really speak too much. It's a little cold out here. Felt really good. Little bit of pain, probably about like a 2 maximum, especially towards the end on the cool down. But overall, feeling pretty good. Definitely way better than the speed work sessions I was doing before the rehab. I mean, I was coming out of those super wrecked and super sore. I'm pumped. I mean, I've seen massive progress in just 2 weeks. Still not out of the woods yet, but man, we're on the right track for sure. So I'm super stoked about this, and yeah, can't wait to keep it going. All right, feeling a lot better. Just did a 2.5 hour long run. Felt great throughout. Seems to be bouncing back pretty good after the speed work, so I'm super pumped about that and ready to get going. We're progressing in the strength exercises as Brodie prescribed, getting more reps in, better range of motion on the Nordic curls. Just super freaking pumped. Let's go. All right, week 3 is down in the rehab plan. Now, when I did the speed workout, I got a little bit of pain, but not as much as before, which was super, super great to see that, like, if you just stop doing like the aggravating factor for just a little bit, man, it can make big leaps and bounds if you take that time to not only not do that thing, but ultimately do the right strength work and progress it along the way. That's where you make those changes in, right? Because like, I think if I just stopped doing speed work and like didn't do anything, like I don't know if I would have gotten the same results, because there's been times in the past where I've stopped, running or stopped doing, a thing that was aggravating an injury. And when I went to go back to do the thing that was aggravating it, like speed work or hills or even running in general, I would still have that pain. And so utilizing the time off from speed work and replacing that with strengthening exercises was a huge learning lesson for me. So I was super, super stoked about that. Really looking forward to this next week of rehab. It's going to be great. We got some speed work sessions ahead on this week, which I'm happy to continue to test it out. And so that's kind of like my general thoughts about this week, and going well and staying strong.
All right, as you heard, this week's gone pretty well for Joe. He's pretty excited. But there was one little moment that I wanted to bring up. So on the Saturday, 2.5 hour run, one of the longest runs he's done in a long time. No pain before the run. Just reading his comments here. Said it got to a 2 in the last couple of miles. But what got my attention was he said sitting in the car on the way home was feeling about a 4, which was the most painful it's been in a while. So even though things are going well, I just want to address this with Joe on our upcoming call. I saw on Saturday after your 2.5 hour easy run, you got some pain sitting in the car on the way home, feeling about a 4 out of 10. You said it subsided pretty quickly, but how long was that car ride out of curiosity?
Yeah, so it was like an hour car ride. So I mean, it was still
Okay.
pretty long. Like I drove like an hour out to the trailhead, and then yeah, so it was like an hour. It really only hurt when I was kind of sitting in the car, and
Yep.
then once I like got up and started to move around a little bit, like it pretty much went away quickly. So, and I know like sitting has usually aggravated it a lot more in the past. So,
Yep.
um, yeah,
Your 3 hour run that we've got scheduled in here for this weekend, this upcoming weekend, is that going to be the same trailhead with the same hour drive there and back?
probably I'm planning on it. I mean, do you think would the suggestion be do something closer maybe, or what would be your
I'm not
suggestion?
sure. Sticking to our pain rules, like your pain rules are okay, less than a 3 out of 10 during, return
Yep.
to baseline less than 24 hours. So that run, you did that.
Yep.
There was a spike 4 out of 10 afterwards, but then return to baseline. You even did an hour and 15 run the next day with no pain during that run.
Yep.
So obviously you've returned back to baseline. So still within acceptable limits. So we can definitely continue. But I just wonder if we then challenge you then yet again with another like 30 minutes on top of that,
Mm.
how you would go. I'm not ruling it out. I'm just curious to see how things would go. All right, everyone, let me talk you through week 4. And I thought I'd just go through the spreadsheet, go through the comments just so you can see what I'm seeing and how I'm interpreting Joe's progression and symptoms and those sorts of things to get you a better insight of you interpreting your symptoms. So we're looking at week 4. We're seeing that we've actually implemented 2 speed sessions for Joe this week. And as you can see, before the run, baseline. During the run, the pain got up to a 2, which seems to be fairly typical for his speed sessions. Afterwards, pain was a 1, subsided quickly after. Always good to know how things are behaving thereafter, how quickly it is returning to baseline. Would be nice to get here an actual duration, like minutes or hours, how many minutes, how many hours, those sorts of things. Seems like still at phase 4 for the Nordics, which is really good. And no pain with this one. Excellent. Let's move on to the next day. So again, we're getting a before, during, and after. Excellent. No pain, slight pain, but not bad at all. And then during the workouts, no pain with the deadlifts, no pain with the step ups. Let's move on to the next day. So we're looking at Thursday now. Again, another speed session. Before the run, baseline, good to know. During the run, a 1, which is actually very, very good. And no pain at all afterwards. And that is a good result. Very good to see that. And then the phase 5 for the Nordics. So he's actually progressed from phase 4 to phase 5. So let's look to see what those are. So the Nordic dips here, gone from phase 4 from 3 sets of 6, full range of movement, to 3 sets of 8. So progressing in those reps, just continuing to work his way across. Then we're looking into the weekend. And so the weekend we've got, again, pretty good. Didn't get much sleep. Always good to note the recovery element. So if there is stress or sleep deficits, add that in, because if there's an increase in pain the next day, we're sort of identifying those variables. And then we have that long run. So the week prior, this is where Joe had his 4 out of 10 pain while driving home, but this is 30 minutes longer, and baseline pain 1, after the run 1. So negotiate that really, really well after encountering those hiccups the week prior. And back-to-back days, so an hour and 15. Let's see what this is like. No pain at all. Wow, this is a really, really good week. Deadlifts at phase 4, no pain at all. Step ups phase 4, slight pain, which seems to be typical based on what's happened prior in the week, but all in all, really good to identify this trend, sort of see how things are progressing, and let's see how Joe feels about this week.
All right, so wrapping up week 4 here, did 2 pretty decent runs over the weekend, and I will say, even though there was a little bit of pain after my last 2 runs, at the same time, I noticed the pain was subsiding a lot quicker after the runs. So the intensity of the pain is lowering, and then also the duration of the pain is also decreasing as well, which is super, super cool, because that means I think we're getting really close to this being almost done. Even though you're kind of still in that pain, it's like measure the relativity of that pain relative to what you have been feeling throughout. And if it's like less intense, if it's healing a lot quicker, then like ultimately you're making progress, because I think it can be binary thing. It's either like I'm healed or I'm not. I think the improvement and seeing the improvement and knowing those things and keeping track of those things can ultimately help your mind get into a better place going forward. So that's been like a huge takeaway for me this week.
Give us an update, how things tracking.
This is easily the best week I've felt in 8 months by far.
This race is only 5 or 6 weeks away.
Yeah, I think it's 6 weeks away. Yeah, which is, it's crazy. The pain was coming up a little bit higher than it normally has been. Kind of came up to around a 2 this week. Talk about like frustrating. A little bit of a scare yesterday, not as bad today, but still it seems like we're kind of like regressing a little bit. I think it's due to probably just lack of sleep, a lot of stress, not the way I want it to go, but hopefully on the up and up from here, we'll see. All right, baby, we are back and grooving. After last week, I made the video. I was saying how the pain was getting a little bit more intense. Today, no pain. A lot of that has to do with I've been prioritizing sleep a lot more, been getting my stress in check, taking a deep breath every time I start to, feel a little anxious or anything like that. But I also think a big thing is also progressing the deadlifts. I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked. This is great. I like doing these videos and like documenting the process, because it makes me see like the different like outlines that you see on your journey, right? I think a theme I've been saying is like success is not linear. And last week, sucked, but like in the grand scheme of things, if we remember back to where we were in the beginning, like we're doing a lot better. For me, I think like a lot of like the regression last week had to do with like my lifestyle kind of stuff, sleep, stress, and like when I managed that thing, I found like the variables start to shift into my favor in terms of just feeling a lot better. So like that's been great, because if you just look at like the training plan or the training or anything like that, it can be hard to really build upon a place where you need to improve. And so going into a few weeks until race day, like we're getting really, really close. So super stoked about that. So I have good news and I have really bad news. So the good news is I went on a 3-hour long run yesterday, and it was the first time I ever had a long run, and there was no pain at all in the proximal hamstring that's been bothering me. The bad news, for some reason, like right above like this part of my hamstring on the left leg here, so like right around here, it's like so tight, like really, really tight. And anytime like I extend the leg or even like bend it, it's like in pretty bad pain, and I'm pretty nervous on this one. So I had just woke up this morning. I have yet to go on another run today, just to see, because I have another 3-hour run scheduled today, but this pain's pretty bad. I didn't feel it after my run yesterday. Actually, thinking about it now, it's not that I felt it, like I felt that area cramping up a little bit, and then I took a salt tab and then it went away. But after the run, it didn't bother me at all. And then I woke up this morning and it was just this terrible pain. So I don't know what the heck is going on here. Gonna have to watch out for this. I'm going to try and step out on the trail and see what happens. But kind of scary. We'll see what happens.
All right, so Joe was in real trouble, and we jumped on a call the next day, but I accidentally recorded just the audio only, just because the settings set for when I do podcast interviews. And as you can imagine, just the audio, not great for YouTube. But it turns out Joe just had a localized, painful spasm in his distal hamstring, and it was completely alleviated in a couple of days. So fantastic. Turns out it was just an innocent niggle. These things, these like innocent niggles, can be concerning, and they can appear from time to time, but it's sometimes helpful to know the characteristics between innocent niggle and what might develop into an injury. If that interests you, I'll leave a link to this video in the description and you can check that out later. But for now, Joe has the next 2 weeks of a pretty boring taper phase, but let's just skip straight ahead to the main event.
All right. It is the eve of the Black Canyon 100K, the night before. It's like Christmas Eve, but tomorrow we got 100K of running. And the hamstring has been feeling primo going into this week. I mean, all my taper runs barely felt anything. I will say, like, I'm very nervous going into tomorrow, way more nervous than I've been for a race in a very, very long time. And I think the reasoning for that is, like, it's a super stacked field. And, like, I know my hamstring's way better, but, like, there's always a chance that it's going to, like, flare up or hurt or anything like that. And I'm trying to focus on, you know, doing the best I can with the situation that happens. Yes, I'm going to go out fast. I'm going to really race this hard tomorrow. I'm really trying to get that golden ticket and get that, top 2 spot for males for sure to get into Western States. A huge shout out to Brodie for getting me to where I am, to feel confident, to feel prepared through like the constant coaching and guidance and strength training and progressions that we've made with Brodie through this program. I'm feeling more confident than ever to dominate it tomorrow. So I'm super, super stoked to see what's going to happen and really feeling confident. I'm feeling like this hamstring is ready to fire on all cylinders and we're going to get rocking and rolling here. So man, super stoked for tomorrow. See y'all at Black Canyon.
Good morning, broadcasting live from Aravaipa HQ here in Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the 2023 Black Canyon 100K presented by Hoka. My name is Dylan Bowman, joined as always by the great Corinne Malcolm. Corinne, good morning to you.
Good morning. This is the second of the U.S. soil golden ticket races into Western states. So top 2 men, top 2 women will be looking to claim golden tickets, but honestly, like, perfect conditions out there for running. It's a cold start this morning. It's going to heat up a little bit over the course of the day, but it should really make for very fast times.
And here we go. The 2023 Black Canyon 100K is off from the Mayer track, Mayer, Arizona. And from what I read of the description of the course, it starts off with a little bit of fire road, Jeep road before they merge onto the single track of the Black Canyon Trail, which will carry them 62 miles to the finish line near New River, Arizona.
Let's go, Joe!
They are absolutely flying.
Okay, it's 5:40 a.m. Apparently Joe's race, if I did the time zones correctly, started about 6 hours ago or so. So, warming up the computer. And then we'll see where he's at. Run like the wind, mate.
Let's go, Joe!
Okay, so I've just gone onto the race website and I have Joe coming in. If you can see that, Joe's in at 42nd place. Hopefully he finds a lot of energy for the last several hours. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this shapes out.
How's it going, buddy?
One of those days, but we're having fun.
Yeah.
Stomach is hurt bad.
Is it?
You got like a sharp pain in there. But we're not quitting. I'll tell you that.
Hell yeah, dude. Go
Let's
get
have
him,
fun.
man. It's still early.
Yes, sir.
You got this.
Appreciate you.
Okay, I've got the live feed on the iPad. Got the tracking results on my computer. Seems like Joe's dropped to about 49th position at the Soap Creek check-in, and that's about 4 hours in. Seems like the leading men and women are at a blistering pace. It seems like the course record's going to be broken from what I hear from the commentary. It looks like a tough day. Let's go, Joe. Bring on some speed, mate. Let's see how we go.
We're watching Anthony Costalis come in through the finish line, just over 7:30 on the clock. Here's our finish cam. We have Zach Marion on the ground. Anthony Costalis, the winner of the Black Canyon 100K.
You guys are witnessing history right here. One of the most amazing performances.
We have a 19-minute course record.
Just watching the replay now and seeing Joe just cross the finish line, it looks like a grueling day. This is 9 hours and 59 minutes. I can't imagine being out there for that long, and the day just looks grueling. It looks like it's getting so much warmer, and here he is here just crossing the finish line. Oh, it looks like it was a tough day. Mate, super stoked for you. Looks like you've really dug deep, and hopefully you're happy with the results. Hopefully you're proud of what you've been able to accomplish, because man, I'm just in awe of what you've been able to achieve. That is unreal. So congratulations, mate. Well done.